with the Chernobyl catastrophe. The decision was based on new data showing that more radiation had leaked from the damaged plant than previously thought. But officials say the upgrade does not mean the situation has become more critical. The operator of the plant appears to be no closer to restoring the cooling systems at the reactors. Another powerful aftershock across eastern Japan forced the operator to evacuate its staff. This comes a month after a massive quake and tsunami hit the country, leaving more than 13,000 people dead. For more on this, we're joined live by atomic expert Christopher Simons from the International Christian University in Tokyo. Good to have you joining us. So high levels of radioactivity have been reported at the plant for several weeks now. Why has Japan waited until now to raise the severity level to the maximum limit?
Yes, good evening. Well, the International Nuclear Events Scale is a very complex set of regulations determining how we rate nuclear accidents. There's a several hundred-page book that details all the different criteria that have to be met. The important thing in this case is that it refers to the total amount of radiation released during an accident. And the Fukushima Daiichi reactors have not released that much radiation until now. So over the past 24 to 48 hours, the total amount of radiation that is leaked into the environment has reached the point at which the INES rating is equivalent to the highest rating, that is level 7, the same as Chernobyl.
And so what does that mean in a practical sense? How do the two really compare, Fukushima and Chernobyl?
Well, yes, they are quite different. And just because both events are now rated 7 doesn't mean that they're really on themselves. The amount of radiation is measured in becquerels, and in order to be classified as a level 7 event, you need to have several tens of thousands of terabecquerels, that is a million becquerels of radiation released into the environment. Now, Japan's own nuclear safety agency, the NISA, estimates that approximately 370,000 terabecquerels have been released into the environment since the crisis began, 370,000. Now, in comparison, the total amount released from the Chernobyl disaster was over 1 billion terabecquerels. So still a much larger amount of radiation in total. Now, these levels are quite different in terms of the type of material. The rating, the INES rating, depends on the type of material, the population into which it's released, all sorts of different factors. The important thing is that the disaster still going on at Fukushima Daiichi is substantially smaller than the Chernobyl disaster.
So what do you think the consequences of this will be for Japan, for the country itself?
Well, there are going to be a wide range of consequences on all levels. I think one of the points we're talking about now relates to TEPCO, the Tokyo Electric Power Company, the company that owns these damaged reactors and has been involved in this crisis. TEPCO's reputation suffered. They already had a somewhat poor reputation. There have been scandals rocking the company since 2002, when TEPCO was found to be falsifying technical data, that is, falsifying safety checks from nuclear reactors across Japan. And I believe 17 of its reactors were shut down after this scandal, and they were later restarted. So the level of trust in TEPCO was already quite low before the earthquake and tsunami and nuclear disaster. So TEPCO is certainly going to be shaken up. I can assume that the top management will all have to go, and hopefully we will see more public or government oversight of the company. There will also be much more substantial effects in terms of the Japanese economy. This exclusion zone, the 20 to 30 kilometer exclusion zone around the nuclear plant, is a very important piece of land. Japan, of course, doesn't have much land as is. This area in Fukushima is a major center for agriculture. It's one of the main suppliers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Japan, as well as rice. And as you probably heard already, it's a major center of industrial production. So car companies such as Toyota and Nissan have plants in this area which are idling at the moment, and they can't supply parts to factories in the rest of the world.
All right.
So the economic consequences are significant.
All right, I'm going to have to end it there. Thanks very much, Christopher Simons, the atomic expert from the International Christian University in Tokyo.